Hello everyone! Because the internet needs another Medellin video, here we are.
Yes, and if you say a lie big enough, loud enough, and long enough, people will begin to believe it. And I know that's controversial to say because you're going to see headlines and you're going to see people say that Medellin is one of the best cities in the world. It's the best city in Colombia. And after spending some time in Colombia, like a lot of time, like we've been here since December 2021, living here, and we've been to Medellin 4 times. I cannot say that that is a true statement. I think it's a huge lie.
I've always known.
And for those of you who are tuning in, we are the Life Theory couple, and we have been living in Colombia since, again, December 2021, and we've just been kind of bouncing around different cities. We spend most of our time in Bogota. We're currently in Bogota, and we're gonna tell you what we like about Medellin, and we're gonna tell you what we
Don't like about Medellin.
Here is a timeline review of our experience of Medellin. So in 2018, that is when we first visited Medellin in the summertime for like 4 days. We did all the tourist things, Guatapé, Comuna 13, Blah, and just really toured the city. And it was a wonderful, awesome experience of only 4 days. And then December 2019, we came for 2 weeks because we actually had a friend who was getting married, and that was cool to experience. And we did a lot of the same repeat activities. We had Whitney's parents join us, and we did a little bit other extra things because we had more time, but we were also working remote at that point in time. So we enjoyed that. And then we had like 1 day.
Well, we drove from Manizales to the Medellin metropolitan area, and we stayed a couple of days. But within Medellin, we did have just 1 day.
Yeah, it was quick, and we went to some of our favorite restaurants that we remember, and that were, thank God, they were still open after the pandemic. And those were great. And then we decided earlier this year, to spend a whole entire month in Medellin to see what it would feel like as like a digital nomad and see what our experience was like. So again, we've been to Medellin multiple times. We have an opinion as just being a tourist, and we now have an opinion of kind of like what it would be like to live there. And I think I like visiting Medellin for maybe a week or two, but longer than that, I think it's okay. I just think it's okay.
Before we get into all the things we don't like, let's talk about what we do like about Medellin. What do you like about it?
I think the first thing, and especially if you visit for the very first time, it is like a mesmerizing like experience when you first see Medellin and experience it, because the airport, which is on the other side of the mountain range, is
Rio Negro.
Rio Negro. It's not like a crowded area. So you're like, okay, we land in the airport, we get in the car, we go through a tunnel, and then you go out into the city, and you're like coming through the tunnel, and you just see this city covered or surrounded by this jungle of mountains, and it just looks amazing. And then when you get out of the car, it's like really great weather. Like it's a little humid but not super humid, and it's a little warm but it's not super hot, and you're like, wow, this is really relaxing, a little refreshing at the same time. So your first impression of the city is like, wow, what an amazing sight to see, and what great weather I'm going to enjoy. The second thing that we really love about Medellin is the gastronomy scene. It's one of I'd say the second best in Colombia. Bogota's my number one. But they have restaurants from all over the world.
Yeah, and because we've been able to visit Medellin a couple of times, we've been able to walk around like a lot of the same streets, and we've found amazing restaurants, like where the food is really well made. It has a lot of flavor. There is variety, which you can choose. Like we like this Thai restaurant, but there is also a Turkish restaurant that we love. Colombian food is available as well. You see lots of options, and that's something that we like. Also, we can find lots of healthy options that are flavorful, well made, and that are appealing. And that's really
It's a
something
relief.
enjoyable.
You know,
Yes.
like that's something we look forward to. Any big city we go to is like, hey, what's the food like, and do they have international varieties of international food? And Medellin definitely has that.
When something that the restaurants also have down is the vibe. Like you feel just very comfortable at restaurants. Furniture, like it is very American
Yeah.
size. It is bigger furniture, comfortable.
Hmm.
The tables are bigger too, and you just feel
More welcomes.
yes.
Yeah.
Another thing that we really like about Medellin is how easy it is to get around. The metro, the rail system, it really makes a difference when it comes to exploring the city and moving around.
Yeah. If you're wanting to get from like Poblado to Sabaneta, you know, it take maybe like 30 minutes and you can just walk from the Poblado area to, well, when you walk, it could take like an hour because the walking, but the walk is really enjoyable, right? And it's very walkable. So you walk, you get on the metro, you get on the metro, and you get out and you walk to the next part of town, and it's super approachable. And this is in contrast to the fact that we've spent a lot of time in Bogota, and Bogota is not that way. Plus, Bogota is a much larger city, so you can you can get easily from one side of the city to the other using the metro. Sometimes even just an Uber, like within 30 to 40 minutes. Whereas in Bogota, oh my gosh, if you're trying to go from the north to the south or the south to the north, it could take you 2 hours. No joke.
Yeah, and I mean there's traffic in Medellin, but it's nothing like traffic in Bogota.
That's a fact. So it's great. It's great for moving around. The public transportation is awesome. The next thing that we love is the tour networks for like the city tours. We're going to Guatapé. We're visiting Comuna 13. It's very abundant. It's easy to understand, which if you travel across Colombia, things are not always easy to understand. But in Medellin, they got it down because I think they have so many foreigners coming there.
They
Through
explain how it is
yeah,
and they tell you things.
they tell you the price and the times and the schedule, and you don't always get that in Colombia. It's just fair to say. But you have to check out Guatapé. Like it'll take you a whole day, anywhere from 6 to 8 hours, and you wake up early, get on the bus tour you could do, and you just jump on the bus, and they take you to a couple of different small towns along the way, and then you go up the famous big rock, Piedra, what's it called?
Piedra del Peñol.
Yeah, and you go up the rock. We've done it 3 times. It's not bad at all. I think I timed myself going up it this last time, and I got up there in 8 minutes. I passed a lot of people on the way, but I've also been, spending time in Bogota where the
Where you go
elevation.
up Monserrate.
I go up Monserrate all the time, and I usually do Monserrate in like 40 minutes, and it's a lot higher and taller than the rock. Anywho, it's awesome to see like the way the lakes look and the weather, and it's warm, and the town Guatapé itself is so beautiful. It's so tranquil. We've gone on the weekday before, and we've also gone on the weekend. We've actually gone on a Sunday.
Oh, jeez.
Sundays are like the most packed. Like I highly suggest not doing a Sunday.
Yeah, if you can choose to go during the week,
Better.
you should do that.
Way
Yes.
way better experience, less people, less crowds to deal with, less tourist energy to deal with. But because there is tourist energy, things are organized, and so that's nice.
Yeah.
The second thing that we love doing, and we've done it like 3 times, is going to Camino 13. Camino 13 is, it's got a deep history, a deep narco history, relating back to Pablo Escobar and all that. But it was one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the 80s and the 90s, and completely transformed into a tourist destination, where people have basically celebration every day, showing off their Colombian culture. And I think it's one of the best places in Colombia where Colombians like want to showcase what they want to do with the rest of their country. We know that Colombia has not had the best history. We know that. You can just Google it, and I think most Colombians want to authentically change and take that dark history and transform it into something celebratory. And Camino 13, I think, is the best representation of that, and it's quite a sight to see. To me, that's my number one place to always go every time I visit.
Yeah, and every time we go, it's a little bit different. The graffitis are different.
Hmm.
There are new artists like on the street doing raps, the dances. It is very vibrant.
Yeah. Now that we have shared a few things that we really love and enjoy about Medellin, we're going to transition into the negatives. But the things that we love and enjoy, they like you can experience them within a week or 2 weeks. You don't really need like a full month. So like where we kind of come to the grind with like Medellin is like we prefer a lot of other cities over Medellin for living for several reasons. And number one is
Well, in Medellin, I feel extremely judged for being with you, my husband. And really quick story, like in 2018, when we first visited, we went out to Crepes and Waffles because it is one of my favorite restaurants in Colombia, and I always had to go to Crepes and Waffles. I dressed like cute, like I had a really cute tight dress because it was a date night with my husband. And when we sat down, the waitress brought the menus to us, and she looked at me with like disgust and so much disapproval. And I was like, what happened? Like, I'm just having a date night with my husband, and the kind of service that she gave us, it was horrible. Like, she completely dismissed me the entire time we were in the restaurant. And I was like, okay, maybe this is just a one-time thing. Like, I don't know who she thought I was, whatever. But it just, throughout the times that we have been in Medellin, it continues to happen. Like, every single time we go out. And
and this is something that I didn't experience until we really spent the full month there and we started seeing it more in places, especially Bilbao and
Lleras,
Jodas,
Provenza,
Jodas.
yeah.
But like there is a culture of young men showing up to Medellin,
Young and old.
yeah, and older, wanting to find easy sex. They're wanting to find potential love or just a fling or whatever. And so that culture is so much more present in Medellin than anywhere else I have seen in Colombia. Like it is ridiculous. So like people in those areas see it all the time. So what do? They have that blanket judgment of you when you're just showing up to go have dinner and you're dressed nicely. And so it's strange. It's a strange vibe, and it's like it's more judgy than you would get when you visit other places
Other
across
places. Yeah.
Colombia, and makes it so unapproachable.
Yes.
Like actually, it's like the place could be really have good food and awesome vibe, but then you just feel like you're being judged.
And so, like, to avoid it a little bit, I always make like the purpose of, like, I am the one that pays the bill. Like, I get my wallet from my purse or my mochila, and I hand them my credit card, and they see the name, and they are like, they like, their attitude completely change
Yeah.
when I'm the one that's paying. And I mean, it's the same freaking
Yeah,
account,
it's
so
the
it
same
doesn't
account.
even matter. The fact that I'm the one that's handing the card to them, it like it switches.
Like okay, it's like a switch or something. You're like, oh, okay. You're not just with the gringo for the money. And it's like, no, we're not. We are doing this life thing together.
Yeah.
Almost been married for 8 years. Oh my God, I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah.
Um,
So, but to experience those kind of like situations every single day, it's fine with me for a week, maybe 2 weeks. But when it is in a longer period of time, it just becomes much more difficult.
yeah, it's just annoying. It's an annoying
Yes.
thing to experience. And the other thing that I noticed all along those lines is like how many single men there are at like cafes and bars and restaurants just sitting by themselves, either on their phones, or just eating by themselves. And I'm like, there really is this culture, that passport bros culture, where the people are just showing up. They might have U.S. dollars or whatever other currency, and they know that they could possibly, pay have
Hook up.
easy, yeah, hook up, right? But there's also a big misconception because hookup culture doesn't really exist in Colombia. But
You gotta pay for it.
that's a big negative for us. Like we don't feel that way in Bogota when we go visit Bogota. Did not feel that way in Bucaramanga. The most welcoming city I've ever been to is Villavicencio,
Villavicencio.
actually.
I never felt like that.
No,
And
man, people
in
would,
the smaller cities, like I don't feel judged at all. Like they looked at us like, "Oh my God, what a cute couple!" And I,
yeah,
okay, okay,
and
like,
they're all excited to use their English as much as possible. I mean, they're much more excited to see you, and I don't think people in Medellin are as excited to see you as a foreigner. Just say it. It's interesting
they are not as excited to see me
with a foreigner.
Colombian with the foreigner.
Okay, the other reason why we would choose to live in other, or we do choose to live in other cities besides Medellin, although Medellin, again, they say it's the best city in Colombia for whatever reason, it is just warm enough that you need AC. And if you want a unit, an apartment with AC, like you're going to easily be spending anywhere from 40 to 60 to maybe even, if you're spending that much, $100 a night to have that AC. Whereas more of an affordable range is going to be 15, 20, 25, $30 a night, which is going to be your $500 to $1,000 a month type of situation, which is more of our budget, what we
Yeah.
want to spend being in Colombia. Just because we're budget conscious, we could afford $1,500 or $2,000, but we like to spend our money on other things and we like to save money. So, in an affordability perspective and weather, we just found it difficult. We actually spent about $1,100 for a month stay without AC in a really nice apartment in Berlin, in an area of Medellin that is not well, well toured by,
Yeah.
because we like to experience the local life more. It's not well
Yeah,
toured.
lots of locals. Like, it was a very,
Yeah, and it was okay. Like the apartment was really nice, the view was amazing, but oh my God, like it was just hot. Like we were sleeping with the window open and we were still like butt naked. And I mean, we prefer Bogota weather, because at night we can open the window when we sleep with the windows open, and I still get naked at night, and I sleep really good in Bogota because of the cooler weather. But oh my gosh, I just did not feel like I slept very well at all for like a month straight. Um, but again, if you're willing to spend the higher amount, you can get an AC unit, and if you're visiting, it's worth it to spend $50 to $100 on a hotel with AC, which you're gonna find easily in that price range.
yeah,
So we just found it like not affordable for being comfortable, basically.
being comfortable and having a place, where we work all day from home. So, like, you need to sometimes be cool because, like, you're thinking really hard about processes and things. And I mean, you get hot, and then the apartment is scorching hot as well. And there is,
Like 80
like,
degrees.
there is no relief. Like, even you go to the malls and there is no AC, or like not as cold as you would like it. And so you're constantly hot, 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 hot. And like I said, there is no relief at any point.
Yeah, but if you're visiting, right? If you're visiting and you're relaxing, like the 80, it hits like 80 degrees pretty much every day at middle of the day. It feels great because you're relaxing. You're not thinking hard about things. You're really just enjoying the weather. But when you're trying to work, it's like, oh, I don't know.
Work,
I heat
cook,
up.
like, yeah, like you're cooking by a gas stove and it's just hot. Like you're boiling a whole bunch of potatoes. The temperature is gonna like increase in the kitchen, and it is a little bit unbearable.
Yeah, just a little bit. So because of that, we've really started to enjoy Bogota because it's like you can crack the window open, it cools off in the apartment, and people complain about it being cold here, which it's not cold, it's cool. But it's interesting to experience that.
But yeah, also, I mean, to clarify, like we have become more active over time, and because of that, like our body temperatures have also changed, and we are more, I don't know, resilient to
To the
being
cool.
cold. Yeah,
Yeah.
we like it better now.
Yeah.
So that has also changed within us, and that's also why we prefer Bogota now.
Another thing that I find about Medellin. I find that parts of it are way noisier than other cities. I think all cities in Colombia are pretty freaking noisy, but Medellin particularly is noisy because it's in a valley and the mountains are so close to each other. The cars, motorcycles, buses, trucks are always revving their engines trying to get up the hill. So it creates this additional amount of just noise and noise pollution. I am very sensitive
Yeah,
to
and
noise.
that because of you, I have become very sensitive. Like I cannot sleep without earplugs anymore.
Yeah, we're always putting in earplugs even when we're in quiet places because
Yeah.
like the smallest noise will just wake me up. And although we booked this Airbnb and it was a beautiful view, it was not relaxing as much as it looks relaxing because we were by this really big intersection, conveniently next to a bunch of grocery stores and places that we
I'm
need
all
a mall. Yeah, but it was just so much noise consistently throughout the day that it was like,
in the night.
and the combination of like, yeah, and the night, the combination of the heat and the noise is like, do I keep the window open?
Yes,
Which doesn't really help block the noise that much. But
because even with earplugs, we could hear like the motorcycles just like,
yeah, yeah.
and it was unpleasant.
And we've stayed in different parts of like Medellin before. We've been there 4 times. So there are parts that are a lot quieter. So I don't think we played our cards as well. But again, it's like an affordability thing, right? Like the places that are more affordable are closer to the busier roads and it's just more noisy. So that's just kind of how we felt about about it. If you want a good view, yeah, you're gonna get a good view, but you're also gonna get all the noise pollution coming from the city, basically.
Yeah.
And there are parts of Bogota. I mean, we're in a place that's an okay moderate like noise. Like I can hear the motorcycles right now. But like at night, it gets pretty darn quiet in the area that we're in the northern part of Bogota.
Yeah, and even in this area where we are in right now, Cedritos, we've been in other apartment complexes where it is completely quiet
Yes.
because of the way the apartment is located.
Yeah. But I feel like again those mountains cause like there to be just more noise because everything's more crunched narrowly within the city.
And it's also the culture in Medellin of like, having these big motorcycles or these loud cars, and like it's a way of showing off, and they are going to show off the engine
Hmm.
and they will make the noise. They will get on like races, and it is even more unpleasant
Yeah.
when they do that. I guess one of the biggest reasons why I don't like Medellin. It's like the lingering of a narco culture, and how it has affected, the way beauty is portrayed in Medellin girls. Like they get boobs all the time and big butts, and they look a certain way to like I don't know.
Entice men.
Yes,
It's part of like it's an expected aspect of the culture, and you see it a lot more like in Medellin, and somewhat in Cali too. I noticed.
but it's also the way like guys treat you, and they look at you and they talk to you. It is very different. I feel very sexualized in Medellin.
Yeah, I was getting a haircut at the mall. What was the name of that mall?
I
It
don't
was just
remember.
Santa Fe. Yeah, it was Santa Fe, and I was just like, hey, I just need to get a haircut. And like, one, the guy did a terrible job, but two, he kept like looking at the women walking by and like saying stuff to his like barber friends, and I was like, man, it's just so like, it's so derogatory and disrespectful. I can't. I just it's one thing to recognize that yeah, this person is beautiful, this person looks good, and I guess it's just the way that I've been raised. So I see more of this like culture of like just being like more sexualized in Medellin, and I just don't enjoy that atmosphere whatsoever. And
But
there's a
but
lot of that.
like the guys feel like they have the right to act like that, and they are going to continue to act like that, whether like I remember when I left Bogota 10 years ago, there were areas where it was just like that. But nowadays, like, I feel comfortable in my own body. Like, I don't feel sexualized when I walk around in Bogota. Not at all. Like,
And people will even ask you, like, we've made friends like with mothers who are like in the, in their 50, 40s and 50s, and they'll ask me, hey, so like, in Spanish, so they'll be like, "Hey, te gusta la mujeres en Medellín? Sí? Like, do you like the women in Medellin? I'm like, I like my wife. Me gusta mi esposa. Like it's a part of the culture that is very strong in Medellin, more so than other parts of Colombia, where it's too sexual. And I think it is an impact of, like, the strong narco culture that has continued to kind of like linger, right? Kind of be there. So it's not something I'm comfortable with. Uh,
I mean,
just
you're not sexualized.
Yeah, it's true. Um,
Imagine me.
but it just it's something I don't like to see every day,
Yeah.
and you're going to see a lot of that in Medellin, and so it just makes it unapproachable.
In conclusion, we like Medellin. We really like it to visit. And we're definitely going to go back to do, a foodie tour, go back to our favorite restaurants, Mekong, which, like, the ribs are pretty amazing.
Those ribs. I dream of those ribs.
They are delicious. Our Turkish restaurant that I don't remember the name, but we are going to go back and, like, experience those things that we liked. We do not like Medellin for living.
Yeah, there's just other places we would enjoy more. But if you are considering, and if you actually look at the trend of people who really love Medellin, even for living, that are, say, expats or people, gringos coming to Medellin, it's because of the party life. The party life is thriving. It's amazing. But we could give less, we could care less
Yeah, I
about.
mean, we are the kind of people that wake up at 5 in the morning and we're in bed at 8:30 a.m. p.m. 8:30 p.m. So we do not care for the party life
Yeah,
at all.
yeah, we like to wake up, go hiking, go exercise, get outside in the sun, and so, like, we just don't care about that aspect of really any place. It's just not something we look forward to. But I would say, if you love the party life, oh my God, like, you're probably gonna love Medellin even more, than for the reasons that we mentioned. But we think, if you're considering a visit to Colombia, like, for all the reasons that we love Medellin, you should totally go experience, because it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Make sure you have a stop in Medellin so
Yeah.
you go and can make your own opinion about the city. See if you agree with us or if you completely disagree.
Yeah. And if you, whatever your opinion is, just put it in the comments, because, like, we know that on the internet, like, people are very passionate about Medellin.
Yeah.
And according to the expats in Medellin Facebook group, that it's a very toxic place.
Yes. But if you want entertainment, just go read it for like
It's also
15
very
minutes.
entertaining. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and all that. Until next time, peace out, y'all.
That's my husband. My husband. Ooh.